Say my eyesight's going bad from sitting in the dark.
Hello, mate.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks. Thanks for doing this. This is
okay.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess we'll jump right into it. Even though, I mean, to me, it's like I'm talking to one of the Beatles or something, but other people like this podcast. I came from a little newspaper out here near Toronto in a small town. A lot of the people who might be listening to this wouldn't know you at all. So who are you, and how would you describe you? How would you like to be described?
Well, my name's Steve Ignorant. I was one of the forming with Penny Rambar, formed a band called CRASS, which was originally a punk band. That was in 1977. And it moved on to become one of the biggest sort of anarcho-punk bands ever. It turned into this phenomenon. It's very strange. I know a lot of your listeners won't have heard of me, but around the world, a lot of people have. And it's this very strange thing that people say, "Oh, Steve, you're famous," or "You're well known," and it's very strange that even though Crass in the punk world was big, it's almost like it's not a cult following, but it's a sort of specialised following. I mean, I was talking to someone the other week, and they said that when they wear a Crash t-shirt, they're guaranteed that someone will come up and speak to them about it. Whereas if they wear some other punk band, it doesn't happen. So it's that symbol, and it's what our band did, So yeah.
So yeah, and that symbol is that for people who don't even know Crass, it's that cross with the snake biting its own tail, sort of little. Okay. But and as I said when I was lining this up with you, I'm trying to talk to people who have affected my life positively, and I'm part of that large small group of people who were affected by CRASS. And I grew up in an extremely conservative area out here, so I needed voices like that to break in there. And a friend bought Stations of the Crass and didn't understand it, so he gave it to me, and I broke out that huge lyric book that was in the cassette, and it changed my life, and I went down the rabbit hole from there and never really came back up. So I mean, different ideas. It hasn't always been you screaming at me, but you helped send me on a path that made me look for alternative ideas to what I was hearing. And how does it feel now, 40 years later, like almost 50 years later, to know you were part of a catalyst for something that did change? It's caused people to become active, to fight for change in small ways and sometimes big ways, and it's brought positivity to the world. How does that feel, being part of that 40 years?
Well, it's a mixture of feelings, really. I mean, on one hand, part of me doesn't understand it, because all I know is that I was the lead shouter in a punk rock band. And all those years ago, none of us, and I've said this so many times, but none of us ever thought that. I mean, the reason we called Feeding of the 5,000 the feeling of the 5,000 was because we didn't think it would sell any more than that. We thought it would sell maybe 50 or 500. You know, we had no clue. But now, I mean, it's the mixture of feelings. You know, when people like yourself talk to me, or all the people I speak to at gigs, or you know, wherever, it's just incredibly humbling. You know, to feel that I've been a part of that. You know, and I don't feel like I'm a messiah or you know anyone special or anything like that. You know, I think I'm pretty good at the job I do, but that's about it. You know, but it's yeah, it's humbling and it's gratifying. You know, and I think if you know if you want to talk in terms of were CRASS successful? Well, yeah, in that sense they were. Maybe not money wise, you know, or you know, I haven't got a recording studio, I haven't got a big car or a speedboat or anything. I can't drive anyway. But you know, the success we have had is you know, endlessly meeting people like yourself and talking to people, and that's the success, you know, that we did have an effect.
Um, I saw you in Toronto like 10 years ago at the Opera House. That was a great concert. You were playing the CRASS songs then, and
Yeah.
it was being, not that I mind this point, but it was being touted as the last time you were going to play them. But you're still playing them, and I love the fact that you're still playing them. So my question around this is, what keeps those songs relevant for you, and is it sort of frustrating that those protest songs are still as relevant today as they were at that time?
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole point of the, you know, that Last Supper tour was going to be the last time I ever performed CRASS songs live. Me and my big mouth, and so we did that tour, and I started doing other things. You know, I started doing my other project, which is Slice of Life. You know, it's that semi-acoustic thing. And a lot of people come up and saying, "Well, you know, why are you not going to perform those songs anymore?" And I said, "Well, you know, I've been doing it for 40 years or something. It's not, you know, it don't." And they said, "Well, you know, how would you feel if you went to see David Bowie and he was alive at the time? How would you feel if you went to see David Bowie and he didn't play some of your favourite songs of his?" And I went, "Well, you know, I'd tear my ticket up." And he went, and they said, "Well, exactly." And a lot of people getting in touch with me on the internet and you know social media and all this. So, Steve, you've got to keep doing it. You've got to keep doing it. And eventually, I came around to do it. And I thought, well, you know, do I feel ashamed of doing it? No, I don't. Are those songs still relevant? Yes, they are. Do people out there want to hear them? Obviously, yes. Then I should do it. But you know, I'm stressing the fact here that the moment it feels that I'm just going through the motions, or it becomes I feel it's embarrassing, or it's just a pastiche of what CRASS used to be, then that's when I will definitely stop it. But I think what's keeping me going with this is that yes, those sad thing is that yeah, those songs are still relevant. You've just got to change a few politicians' names, that's all. But the subjects we're talking about, it's still happening today. You know, I mean, we were rehearsing during the COVID thing. We were doing a Zoom rehearsal, and we started doing. They've got a bomb, and we started doing it, and and all of a sudden I had to stop, and everyone said, "Are you okay?" And I went, "Yeah, it's just like you know the Ukraine war just kicked off." And I just said, you know, this song has suddenly become so relevant to me, you know, and it's like almost like I'm back at 19 years old again, just starting. And that was so sad. It really upset me. So that's driven me on to do it. And also the people in the band that I'm working with now have somehow injected a freshness into the songs. And it's almost like those songs could have been written last week. It's a very so it's exciting me to do it. You know, I'm keeping going with it.
On that same sort of a subject, I was wondering, how have your since 1977 or so, How have your personal politics changed in relationship to the music you're doing? And is there any songs that just they're you don't feel a connection to them anymore, or that you don't do?
No, there are some songs that don't. There are some songs that don't just sort of work. That we've tried. I mean, Nagasaki Nightmare we tried, and for some reason it just wouldn't work. It was very strange. So, but we're going to try it again. And but there's a couple of songs that would be pointless to put in the set. You know, like the song about Gary Bushell, and and when when we play outside of England, I tend not to perform Mother Earth, because that's a very specific song about what child murderers in the 1960s in England. So people in Germany won't understand that, and I don't think many Americans or many Canadians would understand it. And besides which, that is such a, for some reason, a close subject to my heart, that I always feel a bit strange singing those lyrics, which is horrible. That it's about horrible subject, and yet there are people jumping up and down to it, dancing to it, and I'm like, oh, this feels wrong. This feels wrong. So there's certain bits and pieces, but no, on the most hand, we choose very selectively what works, and what doesn't, and you're right in a way. It's sad that I'm still doing it. I shouldn't be doing it. I should be retired now, living on my bloody speedboat, which I haven't got. But
But I mean, speaking of speedboats, you did take time. You were working out, kind of a version of like Coast Guard and that sort of thing for.
yeah, it was a lifeboat, independent lifeboat.
Okay.
So we would go out on sea and rescue people and stuff like that. So I did that for 5 years.
Okay. Interesting. Even when I hear about that, even that is something you did with other people in mind, sort of, and that's a theme through the music. It's CRASS is a community band for me. And your newer stuff too, but so, and that's what I want to go into, like 21st century Steve Ignorant, slice of life. You still have politics in there, but you also have lyrics that deal with the inevitability of aging and things like that. And so I have a question here too. I wrote too much in the note department. Just really, what with the slice of life, two things. Will there be more? Because I noticed you're concentrating on the Steve Ignorant band, and that will there be more of that? And can you talk about what motivates you and drives you when you're writing those newer lyrics?
Well, firstly, there will be more slice of life, but obviously, the working out the touring for the Steve Ignorant band, CRASS thing, sort of tends to fill up my head. So I mean, I've got a garage just over there, and that's where I go and hang out. And all over that, I've got sheets of plywood, and in Sharpie pen, there's all these lyrics just written down as they come into my head. They're sort of written down, and I'll put that in a song. So slowly, but I've been in the studio a couple of times, and I've laid down a couple of very basic piano tracks. And what motivates me is just things that I feel, or why am I so angry today? Right, because I had to wait. Even though they said my medication would be there on Tuesday, it wasn't. I've got to wait another 3, and it took me an hour waiting for that that kind of thing. The price of things. This the fact that in this the area I live, it's beautiful countryside. But the local council, I don't know what the equivalent is in Canada, but they're just so intent on building concrete roads and houses everywhere. It's just like, you know, we've still got homeless people, we've still got people who are having to go to food, you know, free food places. And yeah, so that all comes into it, you know, and but really, I think what I'm you know, also talking about in my lyrics is that really that I've lived longer than I'm going to, so I've now got a sense of my own mortality, and that's when you get that, that's like, oh, you know, oh, it's real, you know, you know, I am getting old, and I'm not going to get any younger, you know. Oh, I've hurt my foot. Oh, that's going to take 2 weeks to heal, where it used to take 2 days when I was younger. Depression, despair that I can feel and other people feel as well. So I address those issues. And the fact that sometimes I feel that I don't belong in this world anymore. That sounds a bit odd, but I watch advertisements on the TV, and they have absolutely nothing to do with me anymore. It's all this new technology, it's younger people, it's and somewhere I've missed something, and suddenly I'm this 65-year-old bloke, you know, stamping my feet up and down in my living room, swearing at the TV screen. So that's I don't know. I just feel, and do I like? There's certain aspects of this modern world that I just don't like. And it reminds me of my grandparents, you know, and I'm like, well, why? So it's this strange thing, yeah. So that's what I try and put into my
So,
lyrics with Slice of Life.
okay. I don't want to get you just talking like some old curmudgeon here, but could you expand on a little bit of the modern world that you don't like?
Well, this constant, like okay, you've got a problem with your electricity. Yeah, okay, ring this number, right? Automated voice. Oh, if you want a thing, press one. If you want a thing, press two. If you want blah blah. If you want to talk to a human being, press five. Right. So, oh, you're number 67th in the queue. Shit music comes through with headphones. The fuck. So, and a lot of the time, it's like going for when I have to go apply for a work permit to go to the United States. Right, that's all you have to do, it all on your computer, right? And it just drives me to distraction, you know, because there are certain questions in there that are just that don't make sense to English people. It's, you know, what's the name of your high school? We don't have high schools in England. It's there's no one to talk to. And I think that's what it is, and it's moving on so fast, you know, that people are, it's, you know, even now, you know, rather than in England, certainly, rather than seeing a doctor face to face, you're more likely to be doing a telephone interview or a Zoom meeting. And they'll diagnose you through a computer screen. Well, that's just fucking great, because how can you, yeah, without pressing my chest, you know, yeah, I've got a pain just here. Oh, does it? Yeah, of course it hurts. I'm pushing it, but, you know, it's just, yeah. So it's,
Okay.
yeah, I'm just anyway. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying being a miserable old. I'm enjoying being grumpy. I deserve it. I fucking worked hard enough for it. It's my anger. It's my boredom. I'm, you know, I'm entitled to it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so um what does the future hold for Steve Ignorant then? Like what can we see? You've got you've had books, uh, lots of touring is still going on, and music. What's the future?
Well, the future is. I'll keep doing this. We've got. I think we're doing this sort of CRASS sort of tour thing. That's going on till next year, and maybe hang on 20. What are we now? 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2024 we're doing as well, but then I think that's going to ease off, and we'll just do um when it's relevant to do it. Then we'll go out and do it.
Is that going to come to North America? Any of that?
Yeah. At some point,
Okay.
yeah. We're working on it. Desperately working on it. We're trying to get everywhere we can with it. And then after that, yeah, so I'm going to be bringing out another book soon, which will be really a sort of, you could call it a scrapbook, about the tour we did last year in Europe and England. Lots of photographs and little comments. Then I'm going to do another book with a friend about the punk community in the local city, which is called Norwich. I'm going to do a lot of photographs from the 70s in that, so I'm really intrigued in that one. And just little bits and pieces like that, obviously more slice of life stuff will come out. So yeah, just watch this space.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so really it's just been a pleasure to talk to you, have you gab at me for a little while, and
Excellent.
So thank you very much for doing this.
Colin, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much.
All
and
right.
I hope to see you over in Toronto in the not too distant future. So
yes, I hope so too. I'm looking forward to seeing those listings go up.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, when we meet up, you're buying the first beers.
All right.
That's a date. Okay, I'll hold you to that.
Okay.
Okay, well, you take care, yeah?
All right, you too. Thank you.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Fuck the politically minded. Something I want to say. Better state of the nation where they trace the dame. At school to give you shit. Drop you in a pit. Try and get in a big con because they fucked you about. Then you're a prime example. There they mustn't be. This is just a sample they've done to you and me. Do they owe us a living? Of course they do, of course they do. Owe us a living. Of course they do, of course they do. Owe us a living.